Welcome. Yeah, not the result we wanted. Um, got people looking for pick-me-ups already. In terms of suggestions, maybe it's not a celebration red as Jay could do. Maybe it's a commiseration red. I don't know. But we are going to go through some basics. Have a little chat. Also, chuck the link in if you do want to come have a chat. But we'll go through things first. So let me get that in chat. And then, yeah, get it going. So also get to our match, team stats, and then cool, share that stuff as well. So having a little look over it. We didn't win a ton of things today. We did all right in efficiency inside 50. Didn't get it in there enough. We won hitouts to advantage, which is we'll go into in a sec. Won the clearances, didn't win centre, but got stoppage. Overall hitouts weren't in our favour, but again, we got hitouts to advantage, which I'll touch on. Possession, bit of, we want to see wins in contested, but we want to see that translating to uncontested as well. So they seem to do a bit of a better job there. And yeah, we can see it with turnovers too. So a little bit frustrating, above our season average. And then the pressure, despite being good, was not enough to get Geelong above their season average for turnovers. But when we look at possession, it was a better story. Again, in the 40s today, didn't get the job done. Last quarter, we saw some advantages until that sort of last 10 minutes. Marks just kind of missed there. Did get the inside 50s done, so that's not too bad. Contested marks, a little bit off where we want, but better than we've seen previously. 5 goals, 1 point, 31 is the loss. Didn't get it done in tackles. Tackles inside 50 is a big story. Just because we're not getting enough done there. On our good days, we look good, but on our bad days, it just doesn't happen. So that's one thing that does need to be addressed. 1% is good. Bounces didn't get out as enough as mentioned earlier. So yeah, a little bit frustrating. Quick question here. Got a Heath in the chat as well. Hey Heath, mate, give me a second and we'll come to you. When will we get better? It's the first time for 6 years that we've lost 6 in a row. That's a good question. I think this is kind of the last of being bad. I mean, we weren't out of the contest throughout the entirety of the match. I can get some of the clothes out of the way. And then, yeah, we had periods where it didn't look great. So we'll quickly go to the match report. Not match report. We'll go to the summary. So that start, right? We let them get off in the start, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in a row. And then we had a similar problem at halftime. They got 1, we got 1 back, but then it was 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row before we kicked our next. So we have these periods where we're just getting outdone, and it's when teams are effective, because they kicked not many points in this quarter. It was 6, but they still kicked. Okay, they kicked a few points, but they went on a run where they only missed 1, right? So the end as well, they could have gotten us there too. So it's those sort of periods where we're just not holding up, and they'll become fewer and further between. I think this is the last year of it happening, but we will unfortunately kind of be middling next year. And I think the year after is when, or at some point towards the end of next year, we might see a kind of jump. But until then, who knows? Got another one. Struth Jazza was bloody dreaming again. He didn't even clear 15 disposals, so they should drop him. Yeah, I mean, interesting take. I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, the 5 goal head start is kind of not a great one. and then again in that sort of middle period there. So bit frustrating. We'll come back to. I'll quickly touch on one thing with player stats. So we should have that out. So hit outs to advantage. We've got Roma with 6, Max Heath with 5, and then the others on the other side go 4, 7. So we did get the job done in hit outs to advantage, and just didn't quite translate to overall. Now overall clearances from centre. Now we'll get rid of that for now, and then we'll add Heath in. Are you ready to go, Heath? Yeah, easy, mate. All right. Let's have a bit of a chat, mate. How's things?
Yeah, last week I was a bit frustrated. This week it's like any match, and we play patches of footy, but we can't seem to bring 4 quarters of Saints footy, and it just shows you that what we did for the majority of that game.
Yeah, I mean, we broke up for a little bit there, but I think I got the vast majority of your message, and yeah, that's it, mate. Like patches of good, but patches of just nowhere near it, and I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's age and having half the team be kids, right? The other half we're asking a lot of from our experienced seniors, and look, they're not always making the right decisions, but no player does. So, I mean, it's hard to put all the blame on them, though there's definitely moments where you'd expect better for sure. Um, that being said, yeah, it's you're right. It's patches of playing Saints footy and patches of just not. Um, yeah, we got Taru needs some time up forward here. What do you think about that? He did get a mark in there, flew a couple of times.
Yeah, no, I thought Taru was good, but in the forward, he needs to. It really depends on how the game's going. Like, if you're going to start Taru forward, you keep him forward and see how we go. It was just a momentum thing. I understand why we did it, but like the guy said, we did it too late in the game where it was already done.
Yeah, I mean that's it. So let me just do one thing. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Look, it's been. I don't know. It's been frustrating. We've had moments where we could have looked much better.
Yeah.
Heathy, you've got a fan, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking fabulous. I know. Someone has to look good, even though we
That's
are
it, mate.
not where we want to be. We're getting there
No,
slowly. It's a pain.
no, it is frustrating. And look, the kids will get there. A lot of them have shown great signs, but these are the matches where, yeah, it's not quite going to get done. Like I was hesitant in kind of going down, and Jakey made the trek, so
Yeah.
he's braver than me. But
Mm.
no, it was just not quite there. There was moments of brilliance, but yeah, I don't know. Let's quickly touch on some of the individual stats. I'll quickly get that up as well. We had Naz leading the way, Sinclair not far behind. Didn't quite get the meters gained with Holmes getting the most, but were the two most for our side there. Naz got a fair few clearances with 10. Not sure the amount from centre. He got 6, so matched Patrick Dangerfield there, and 9 score involvements, 3 intercept possessions, 5 inside 50s. I think there was a bunch of rebound 50s as well. But yeah, he played a great match. I mean, at this point, we've chatted a lot about Naz's long term, so we won't do too much about that. But I mean, matches like this, it's hard to see who could kind of put similar outputs out. I think it kind of shows why you need him in the midfield. What's your thoughts on that, Heath?
Yeah, no, I like him in the midfield. He seems to he seems to be our most dominant player. Whenever we are playing bad or playing good, he always seems to be that player that always seems to be consistent. He's piling up consistent numbers, and we can't afford to lose him. Like it'd be a shame if we lost him, but I really don't want to lose him. I want to keep him, but I don't know. I just want to. He's doing well.
He's doing great. And yeah, look, I mean, who knows what happens with Naz? There's been some good whispers. There's been people saying he's going. So at the end of the day, I don't think anybody's 100% sure yet. And all we can hope for is that he stays. So we'll learn with time. But yeah, I suppose it's time to go over some players. Heath, do you have any questions on my sort of thoughts or anything before I say goodbye?
No, I don't have. Oh, I'm trying to figure out like with us obviously the remainder of the year, and we got a good run home. Do we lose all of our games and get a good draft pick, or do we win majority of our games and get, say, a 15th to 12th range draft pick?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Look, Heath, I'm not sure, and it's a tough one. I think last year we probably would have gone with fairly similar players, and yeah, this year I think it just kind of it comes down to the draft being compromised again. So as much as I don't want to lose matches, I do think that we need to think about what's super important long term, and maybe we win matches that we some fans don't want, but I think that also comes down to I think it comes down to playing the kids more, and if we're gonna win these matches, we may as well play as many kids as we think could be in the long term projections, and if they get the job done, awesome. If not, a ton of kids in the side. So I think we don't necessarily make it easy on ourselves. We ask the leaders to be leaders. Yeah, it's a difficult call. We've got Nathan here. Nathan has just said, "I can't see us winning another game. Maybe the Seas next week, but yeah, won't beat the Tigers the way we're playing." Look, it's possible. I think we're playing not terribly. We've played pretty much top 4 and 8 sides over the last month and a half, and yeah, I think it's very possible to win against Melbourne, to beat Essendon, to beat North, to beat Richmond. So I think there's a few sides that we could get it done against. I don't think we'll beat the Giants, but yeah, we'll have a few opportunities for wins before the end of the year, in my opinion, at least. What's your thoughts on that, Heath? Do you think we have some games left we can win?
Yeah, I reckon we can win probably every game but the Giants one. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it's possible to win every game. Whether that's good things for us in the end or not, debatable. But yeah, it's definitely possible to get some wins. Heath, I'm going to go over some of the individual stats now. Feel free to jump back in towards the end. I'll open up the cameras again, and yeah, we'll chat soon, mate. Thank you for coming past.
Yeah, right, see ya.
Cheers, mate.
All right.
All right, so we'll get the individual stats back up again. So we've got Naz leading the way, as mentioned. Sinclair next in line. We'll just keep this to the Saints for now. Bradley Hill with 23 disposals. Not his worst game. Definitely put his body out there a bit more, which was good to see. Didn't always win it, but tried, which is what you want. You just want everybody trying their hardest. Jack Steele did really well with 14 tackles. The next best was Windy with 5. So he's definitely showing levels of leadership, and you just want others to try and go with him. Bit of a shame when we've seen other weeks Jack Macrae get similar numbers. So a little bit frustrating on that front. Speaking of Jack Macrae, only the 19 disposals behind Max Hall, who I thought had a good game, maybe not as efficient as he's been in the past. We'll check some of the score involvements in a second. Marshall looked reasonable, got a goal, I believe. Yep. Sorry, camera's just in the way. We've got Ryan Burns, who I thought played not a terrible match. I think he had 1 or 2 moments where he didn't do his best, but look, every player has done that at moments this year. Quickly go over our clearances again. 3 from Ryan Burns, 5 from Jack Macrae and Jack Steele, and then 10 to Nazaya Wanganeen-Malera, which is 600 plus meters gained from the midfield is just deadly. So it's good to see him using this opportunity well. Thought Mitch looked pretty good today. Nailed a few set shots, missed one he definitely want back, but better in a lot of regards. Wilkie on his 150th played pretty well. A few disappointing threes against, things like that, but again, that's footy. Moving down the list, we saw a little bit more from Jack Higgins today. 2 goals, a couple of clearances, got up the ground a little bit, which was good. Got a goal assist as well. So not bad in that front. And Liam Henry, similar, got a clearance, got up the ground a little bit. Was good to see. Didn't see tons from Darcy Wilson, but had moments where he looked good before he was subbed. Stocker had some moments he'd probably want back. We had a few small forwards get out on us at moments. Really hated seeing Jack Martin take that flying across the pack mark, and Liam Stocker just didn't jump with him. So a little bit frustrating there. Angus Hasty didn't play badly. Could have played a lot better, though. Clark, with his time on ground, didn't do terribly. 22% time on ground, 135 meters gained, 2 clearances. So not terrible. Max, Heath, and Alexander Toru with the 7 disposals each. Heath with 15 hit out, so a pretty reasonable job there. Could have had a little bit more. I saw Heath pull out of the contest in the centre clearance, where he definitely could have picked it up and kind of just smashed it forward. Likewise, just got it in the goal square and kind of kept running away from goal, finding somebody else. So I think if he just took those moments and really owned it, he'd be showing a lot, and he's already shown a bit. So liking Heath. Let's quickly check some of the stats. Some of the chat. Was at the game today. Bradley Hill and Wood stuck out like sore thumbs on the wing. Decision making and execution not great. Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think they've been terrible, but they've definitely not been as good as years past. And the only problem with God is Wilson's not doing a ton better with his time. Liam Henry, we're trying to push him up a ground a little bit, but we also need as much help close to goal as possible. It's tough. Ryan Burns could maybe play that role, but we saw it a little bit from Max Hall getting pushed up the ground as well. So maybe he's somebody that could go to the wing. But it's tough with those players. I think they're definitely not bad. Bradley Hill definitely got to a lot of the right places, did quite a few good things. Same with Wood as well, probably less so. But we'd want to see the most out of those positions, right? Because we've been getting beaten out on the uncontested possessions from contests. So it's a little bit frustrating. Speaking of moves, though, he's got those crazy eyes. He's a beast. I agree. He's got a lot of potential. And I think if we're going to have a quick chat about next year, we saw a lot from TDK for a 5-minute period with the Blues. If anybody bothered watching that match, it wasn't great watching Saturday night, but he got him over the line there, and we've got at least a couple of rucks going forward, which is great. I think next year we probably roll 4, depending on what you call Kilda, maybe 5. But I think we end up getting TDK based on all reports. We hopefully keep Roma unless we get a particularly good offer, and then Moose looks like he's got enough to at least be serviceable. If we could keep him around for another year or so, keep developing, see what he's got. I mean, he's 22. Gorn didn't get his first AA until I think 24. So there's time for him to become quite a good player, and I think he's got something there. And then, we've got the others in Dodson, maybe Keeler, if you consider him one. I'm not sure that Boyd makes it at the end of the day. Moose is showing a little bit. He's younger. We've already put time and effort into him, so he knows a bit more about our system, has those connections as well. So, I think it's one to persist with. Surely, if Naz goes, we get pick 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for compensation. That sounds about right, to be honest. I'm not sure. Like, this is something I've brought up a few times, but I just don't know how this can get ticked off by the AFL without it looking like silly. And I don't think St Kilda will say yes to any deals. Like, I can't see them letting go of Butters, to be real, right? In terms of Naz to Port and that conversation. Unless they're willing to part with him, which I can't see that happening, I don't really see a conversation where it gets done. So, and I can't see Naz nominating for the draft, right? I can't see that happening because we have picks before Port. And if it weren't us, it'd be Richmond, or West Coast. So I just don't think it happens. I can't see a world in which it makes sense. So I think St Kilda will essentially balk at the idea of anything but getting it done for a couple of years until Naz gets to the point in which we can get good compensation for it. Tough one, to be honest. Tough one. But we need Max King. So I'm going to give it one last chance next year and see if, this year can get stuffed. Look, I kind of agree, right? Our forward line's been maligned all year. Our midfield has started to look like it's figuring it out. Look, there's elements of it's not terrible. But there's elements of it's not working either. If we look at team stats again, efficiency inside 50, not bad. But just inside 50s, we get 10 less than our opponent. We won in the contested possessions, but didn't translate it to uncontested and turned it over more, which is, part of that, right? And look, we probably gave up a little bit in that last 10 minutes, but these numbers are reasonable, which we weren't having that for major parts of the year. I don't think our ball movement was as sound as it's been developing into the last couple of weeks. Marks inside 50, which has been a major problem throughout the year, hasn't really developed through contested marks, which honestly isn't a bad thing because marks on lead are a positive. You want uncontested marks inside 50 if possible. So there's positives developing. It's just we're not quite taking advantage of everything. And, look, we got more hit-outs to advantage today. But could you imagine if hit out tap ruck against, what was it, Reece Stanley and Big Gloves? Mate, if we had TDK, we would have had 25 hit-outs. I think something happened there. So give me a second. Apologies. Don't know what happened then. Yeah, my bad. My bad. So we've got another question. How does the compo picks work? Look, I don't think we'd be like we don't get anything really for Nas. Like that's the thing with how it's set up. Like because he's just a free agent, he'd need to be traded for, and yeah, I mean unless you're talking about another player with like TDK, the AFL will take care of that. It's based on earnings prior to leaving the club and what you've gotten offered at your new club. So it's a little bit convoluted, and I don't know the ins and outs of it all, but yeah, it's not something we have to worry about with TDK. With Naz, we can't get anything compo wise from the AFL, so yeah, I think we're in a little bit of a stalemate. I don't think Port has players that would be interesting to us. Maybe they have enough that are interesting to others to kind of get it done if they want to, keep Butters, which I think that's the Butters for Naz is the only way I can really see it getting done in any way. But yeah, I think it's I think we're just in a stalemate where like if Naz really did want to go home, like we don't. So worst case scenario, we don't get any compensation from the AFL at all. If Naz wanted to leave and we didn't want it to happen, and he still wanted to leave, it would have to go through the preseason draft, or the national draft. And I can't see that happening. There's too many picks before Port or Adelaide to get him to the city that he wants to go to, supposedly. Like this might not have happened. Like I'm hearing, to be honest, good whispers, right? But I hear good whispers, and then I hear other journos say different things. So I don't know. I don't think anybody really does. So it's one of those ones where I think Naz signs on, whether he wants to or not. And I think if we're talking worst case scenario, I think we end up in a Bailey Smith situation. And I think that would be the worst case scenario, where Bailey sat out a season. I think if it really came down to it and Naz just wanted to go home, he might sit out a season. But I can't see any way that he gets to Port without it essentially being Butters for Naz. So yeah, it's I can't see any other way of it going down. It just doesn't. There doesn't seem to be the currency from Port Adelaide. We won't accept a 2027 first round pick from Adelaide. Like it's just not a first round pick with Tassie coming in. They'll get every second pick up to pick 10, and then they get every third pick to pick 20 or something. So it's not like I can't remember the exact. Don't quote me on the exact what Tassie's getting, but it's something akin to that, and it's just going to make a 2021 or 2027 first round pick not worth it. 2026, yeah, that might have some currency. We don't think Port's going to be amazing next year, but yeah, it is one of those ones where they don't have a first this year. They don't have a particularly valuable first in 2027. They have one in 2026. They don't have any players that we particularly want. I don't think they have any players to sell that is worth first rounds either. So it's just not enough. Like St Kilda would be asking for 3 firsts minimum, and like they can offer 2 at best, where one of them's in a draft that is heavily compromised. So I can't see it getting done. But yeah, hate how Saints keep going after South Australian talent to keep Vic boys. Yeah, look, we pick up some Vic boys, but it just doesn't always work out, mate. Like there's a lot of compromise in the draft. Like we've already I mean, there's the potential of picking up Cam McKenzie, who we probably should have been given access to. And then you look at other things like David Roden's son is in Melbourne's NGA, I think. And it's like, how, like, I understand David Roden has, I think, a Fijian background. I might be wrong there, but he has a non-Australian background, and it might be Papua New Guinean. I don't want to speculate. Anyway, but he has a non-Australian background. I get that, but it's a bit weird when your father's played AFL that you're in the next generation academy. Like, doesn't make a ton of sense. You've had the links to AFL already. There's a lot of rorting going on in the system, and like, honestly, we just need to do a better job at rorting it ourselves. Like if that's the way the game is, you just need to play it better. So it's a bit tough there. Yeah, we do need to keep the big boys, that is for sure. There's some that haven't come on the way we wanted. Ollie Houghton for one, but yeah, I mean, that's just life. Do we want two poos next year? I think there's a reasonable chance that we'd look into Jevon. He's had one or two good games, or maybe even two or three good games this year at the lower levels, under 18s, in a few different levels. But I don't know if we particularly want him. I think there's some element of wanting brothers together. Of course, that'd be a great story, and it'd help in some regards. But I think it'll come down to, what does St Kilda think's best? I mean, we picked some players that we wouldn't have expected. We passed on Dodson for Barrett and like others. I think Patrick said, I can't even remember, but we passed on Dodson a couple of times before picking him up at 58. So it comes down to like it comes down to what we think at the end of the day. Do we really think it's better to get an X player or Y player? So yeah, I mean, Jevon has a good chance. Obviously, there's a little bit of knowledge there through the club. But yeah, it kind of is frustrating. I just want to, kind of go back to a question I saw earlier. Just hate that the making Barrett and the club and Corns look right. We've gone backwards every year under Ross, without the club saying we're rebuilding. Look, this is a fair thing to be annoyed at. Though I think if we're real, there was no way the side we had under Ratton was going to get it done. Like, just no way. And like, we can see it now, man. Like, we were trying to get, as much as Clark isn't terrible, like, we were trying to get Clark up to game time and get him experience because we needed midfielders then. Like, we finally got a little bit out of Crouch, and then he got injured, and then we finally got a little bit out of McRae this year. But we've had so many holes in our list, and like, it just wasn't going to happen. So as much as I think it is frustrating that the club, because it hasn't come out and directly said, hey, we're doing a rebuild, we're going to be shit. They've basically said, as you've kind of said here, without saying it, we've kind of said we're rebuilding. And I think the wider AFL community has figured it out. Like, we don't need to say, hey, we're young every week. I mean, Corns beats us up for saying that anyway. So I think there's an element of, we will get better fairly quickly when it does happen, because we've got what we didn't have when we were originally kind of getting towards the side that made finals under Ratton. Like, under Ratton, we had to bring in a whole bunch of experience to help our kids that were developing. Like, Geary was our captain for a reason, right? Like, as much as Geary was great, don't get me wrong, it's that he wasn't like a captain that's likely to win you a grand final, right? Like, you need if your captain's a Bont, you're probably a lot more likely to win a grand final than, say, a Jared Geary. Much as I like Geary. But we needed that like senior leadership to come through that, I mean, gave us a boost instantly, but also kind of put us on a path of, hey, let's get this group developed, because we're still going to need to build underneath them, which we've done reasonably well. I mean, King was kind of the start of that process. We got a bunch through the door with Naz kind of being the leader at the moment. So I think we're well underway to getting that pop in performance level. All the teams that we've versed over the last month and a half have been good teams. I mean, we haven't been completely blown out of the water in any major regard. I'll quickly go over it again. Just we'll pull it up for everybody. Let me do it again because I got cut off for a second, so I got to set it all up again. All right, here we go. So we got St Kilda. Let's look at our last sort of month, right? We lost by 5, or 31, 5, 20, 12, 34, and then there's the game that we won't talk too much about. But all of these are against sides that are trying to be in the 8. Sydney's probably a little bit too far back to really do it. Dockers may or may not make it. Collingwood, though, definitely will. Hawthorn almost 100% will. And Geelong definitely will as well. They're all competitive teams, and we didn't get completely slaughtered in any. In fact, we're starting to finally get back up there and scoring a little bit with this match. This match, we're pretty far off of it, and look, this match could have been better too. But again, away from home, like it could be worse. Like there's reasons that we haven't done as well as we want. So I'm fine with it for now. If we've gone, probably this next month or so will be an interesting one. It's a catch-22. I don't want us just slamming teams home and kind of band-aid fixing our season. But at the same time, I don't want us to just lose. So it's a tough one. This next month's going to be a difficult one to digest. Everyone in the media chatting on Ross, but I swear he makes us look way better, and we actually are at this point in time. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Like Ross has got us playing footy that we probably wouldn't with these sides. As much as I think Hasty has some positives, he's not the best one-on-one defender. And like we saw a lot of small forward goals today. So, I mean, it could have been worse, right? Like it could be worse. We're going to pop soon enough. I almost don't even want us to do it this year because it is, as I mentioned, a bit of a band-aid on what has been an shocking season in a lot of regards. But I'd almost prefer us to just play more kids, make it even tougher on our seniors to get the win, and the kids in some regards, show your worth, and we're going to go into next year and hope for a big rise. So yeah, it's a tough one. I don't even know what I really think is the best outcome anymore, because we're in a similar point to last year. And if I look back on last year and say we were ahead of the Demons and a couple other sides, I think we'd probably still take Taru, but I reckon Travalia might be a 50-50, whether we go him or, say, Harvey Langford. So I don't know if we really would have changed what we did anyway. And I wonder if it will change what we would do to have, say, pick 5-ish, 6-ish versus pick 10, 13, whatever it might end up being with the academy. So, yeah, it's a tough one. We've got Naz makes us look a lot better. Couldn't agree more. But yeah, Windy should be thought of as a future captain. Yeah, potentially agree on that regard. So I'm going to go back to the old, if I can. Back to the old player stats. There we go. Windy with 22 today. Definitely not a bad game in that regard. Let's go some advanced stats. Inside 50s. He got 2. Not too many frees. For anybody doing bad with frees against Wilkie, geez, they're targeting him on his day. Ryan Marshall with 11. Dang. Showing out in front of potential buyers. Good game from Roma. Likewise with Malera and Owens. Yeah, look, for Higo not getting a ton of disposals, 7 score involvements is a really reasonable job. Yeah, there's some good results here. Sinclair getting back to some career best numbers or better numbers with 9 intercept possessions, 5 inside 50s with Jack Steele, Bradley Hill, Max Hall, and Naz. Let's double check if I can get rebound 50s. Where have I put that? Ryan Burns, geez, with 7. I really didn't think he played that bad a match today. He maybe had 1 or so kicks that kind of didn't do what you'd want, but definitely not terrible. 3 score launches. That's definitely not bad. Roma with 6 as well. Jeez. Yeah, interesting match from Roma. Played a lot of time forward. Would be good to see his actual positioning and his heat map. So like to see that, but we can maybe even kind of figure that out a little bit from his ruck. Okay, so yeah, maybe spend about 40% of the time forward. That's not bad. All right. Not bad. All right. What else we got? Darcy Bush should be a second half player, not Hunter. Yeah, interesting. I thought Hunter would probably come on for Boxall. But yeah, Boxall played all right from memory. How much did he actually get of the ball, though? Got 15 disposals, so kind of getting up there with his better numbers. Still nothing amazing, but yeah, not bad. It looked hard one with Hunter. I called this at the start of the year for anybody that saw the preseason chat with Jake. I kind of had Windy, Dow, and Hunter Clark fighting out for the last spot in the midfield, and this was on the idea that Steele and Pooh and others would be continuing form and whatnot. But yeah, I had Hunter on just outside of the best 22 for Paddy Dow. So I think Hunter, he's a reasonable player, but yeah, he's one of those ones where he does half really good, half not so good. And if he could just do more than half really good, we'd be pretty happy to play him more, I reckon. But I feel like that's kind of the issue. He gets as many turnovers as he does score involvements a lot of the time. But still, these last couple of weeks, either cementing himself as captain for another couple or inflating his value highly. Yeah, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to remove that. So I don't know how many people watch the Tradies podcast with who we got? We've got Sam McClure and Mitch Cleary. But Sam has been running a little headline recently that he hasn't named a name for yet. And I'm pretty convinced it's us or Essendon. And it's essentially that one of the captains in the AFL, might want to be traded, and it, be mutually agreed upon with the club they want to go to, the player, and everybody would be fairly happy, supposedly, if it got done the right way for like the club that they leave. So I'm worried that that's us and our captain. And the only other, because he mentioned that they're assigned captain and they're from a Victorian club. So there's a couple. I don't think it could be Bont, because Bont's out of contract currently, technically, even though he's been doing years to years, and probably gets that done, even though Collingwood's sniffing around supposedly. But the only people I can really think of is us, Essendon, maybe the Roos, maybe Richmond, but that's about it. So, yeah, if it is us, I think we'd be wanting at least a first round pick back for our captain, if not a little bit more than that. So it's an interesting story, one that I've been waiting for him to actually announce who he's talking about. So keep an eye on that one, because I'm calling early that I think it might be us, and I'm just a little bit worried about that. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. I'll chuck the link in chat in one more sec. We'll just quickly double check some of the stats here, and then see if anybody wants to jump in, say hello before I say goodbye. And we'll do contested possessions. Jack McRae leading the way there. Naz, geez, nearly leading uncontested as well. Windy, the second in charge there. Windy's been playing a lot of wing. Hasn't been attending many centre bounces. And to be honest, I've been liking him. Once he's kind of got the time and space, kicking efficiency, not great here. But I don't think he did a ton of kicks. Let's have a little look. 13. Oh, okay. Could have done a little bit better. Let's be a little bit harsh and look at turnovers. So Naz leading the way there. Windhager next. Steele. And then Sinclair and McRae. Look, it is always more likely to have your midfielders turn it over. It is. They get the ball more. It just happens. It is a little bit frustrating to see Naz at 9, though. That's probably a bit too much. Likewise with Marcus, 7 is a little bit too much. Steely is probably 1 or 2 more than we want. Same with those two. But depending on what these guys actually got for disposals, Stocker, maybe not so much. Likewise with Mason, he didn't do a ton. Liam Henry didn't do a ton. So, yeah, there's a couple there that probably could have done a little bit better. I did note that we did quite a few more, I believe it was short kicks than long kicks, but I'd have to double check that, which is, what I've been asking for. So there's elements of the game that I like, but there's elements where we're just not getting it done. I wasn't showing the screen there before. Apologies. But yeah, some don't see it with Wilson. Look, for me, it looks like second year blues. Like I saw a lot to like about him last year. So while I get it in some regards, probably hasn't done as much as we'd want and hasn't set the world alight. In the second year, he's definitely worth persisting with. If nothing else, he's a younger version of Brad Hill, and look, Brad Hill's not been amazing this year, but Brad Hill has been pretty dang good over his career. So I think Wilson's worth persisting with. A lot of running power. Seems to have built his body up a bit, can take hits more now. But yeah, look, a little bit timid. Probably not quite believing in himself 100% yet. But yeah, look, he's gotten a bit of the second year blues by the looks of it, and hopefully he can shake it going into next year. Yeah, quite a few marks on the wing that needed to be taken today. Couldn't agree more. And it's been a bit of a problem with us. We go a little bit long to the contest too often, and we're unlikely to get a ton of spoils from our kind of group there. To be honest, Owens has done quite well over the last 2 weeks in getting frees and getting his body to the right position when he's been asked to do it. But yeah, I mean, look, we're not getting that from Sharman. We're not getting that from as much as I'd love him, Higo. Sharman should probably be doing it more. Higo, maybe not. Maybe he's not asked to do it a ton, but when the opportunity comes, he's kind of shirked responsibility a couple of times over the last few weeks. Good to see him hit the scoreboard though this week. Footy's hard, man. Like, you kind of need to be doing everything right. A lot of it is just you need to be doing 90% of things right, and if you're doing 80 and the other team's doing 90, you lose. Like, in some regards, footy's simple. In some regards, it's not. It's just life. And this is it. Not everybody agrees with how footy works. Some people like Wilson's game, others don't. And so it's not everybody agrees. The way I think about footy might not be the way the team wants to go about things. I don't know, so yeah, tough one. I liked a lot of what I saw. I'm pretty confident that we beat Melbourne. I'm pretty confident we go on a 4-game winning streak from this point. But look, sillier things have been said by me. So hopefully that's not one that'll be looked upon sillily in the last sort of month of the year or whatever, month of the season. But otherwise, I think that's about it. If somebody really does want to come in and ask any questions, I'm going to open it up. So feel free to jump in, ask a question, share your thoughts, and look, we're happy to go for a little bit longer. We've done about an hour now. I think we've gotten over a lot of the sort of base level stuff. Yeah, frustrating game. I feel like that's been the result for like weeks. I mean, it has. We've lost 6 in a row now. First time since 2019, I believe. Let's lose by 5 points for our last 4. Yeah, okay. Look, the thing I said, okay, let's do one thing quickly. So we've got the adjusted ladder at the moment. I think this is live. Yeah, it is. So we could, with the win that Richmond had, and North being a win away from beating us due to the draw, and our general run home, we could lose to them, and secure bottom 2. Now, West Coast would get a second pick for Oscar Allen, which would give them pick 1 and 2. But we would have pick 3. Now, the only teams we necessarily have to lose to in this sort of period, looking at it, would be Essendon, Richmond, and North, because Melbourne's probably got a high enough percentage that if we won by a couple of points, it's not the end of the world. But that also means that those 2 would need to pick up a win somewhere. So I feel like we kind of, if we lose the rest of the year, we end up with pick 3, right? Because we would lose to these 4 teams. So the next month is, I don't know, interesting. It'll suck if we end up losing all of it, but long term, we haven't had a pick 3 and God knows how long. We've got 2 more years until the draft is very heavily compromised, and I assume by 2028, when Tassie's meant to be in the AFL, that we're trying to be very competitive. So yeah, it's a tough one. Oh, I didn't share. Sorry, apologies. I'll quickly show you. So yeah, if we lose to North, Richmond, Essendon, and Melbourne, we would end up below West Coast, that would get pick 1 and 2 for Oscar Allen leaving, and pick 1 for coming last, and we would end up with pick 3. Now we might, be able to lose or win against Melbourne, but then we'd be on 24. We'd be above Essendon. We'd need Essendon Richmond or North to win again. So we kind of can't win to Melbourne. We kind of can't win to any of those sides if we want to get pick 3. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. So yeah, that's maybe why some people's sentiment, particularly after last year being in a similar position, I think we band-aided over some of our issues. And look, I don't think we would have changed picks a ton. I think we're fairly happy with who we got, but you never know. Maybe we did want somebody else and it just got snatched. We did want Leo Lombard and he got snatched, so who knows? We need some solid young players to play 300 games for us, like Pendle, Sidebottom at the Pies. We need Windy, Naz, Garcia, Wilson, Hall, Pooh to get that job done. I agree. I very much agree. There's some that are tracking, like they probably will do good things. I mean, I think Windy and Naz are on the way. I saw a very interesting post by somebody last week saying they thought that Windy had a higher ceiling than Naz, and I don't know if I agree with that, but it made me think a bit, because it does make me realize that Windy probably has a little bit higher of a ceiling than I thought. If keeps progressing, he's quite young. Garcia too, I've loved him since day dot. As long as he keeps building, we've got a good player there. Wilson had a bit of a down year. Hall come out of nowhere. Pooh been injured, but look, we've got a lot of things to like. We've been through it, and it just needs to click. We don't want to end up above Carlton and the D's, to be honest. Yeah, look, I doubt we end up above Melbourne or Carlton. We could. We really could. Yeah, I don't want to stand up above them either. I would play a few more kids. I'd give Patrick Sade a game, get Collard back in the side. Like, it's one of those ones where we may as well play basically Sandy and just see how they do at the AFL level, because there's nothing really in it for the rest of the year. If anybody's injured, go send them to get surgeries, that sort of thing. If we win our way out of a top pick again, you'll spaz. No, I can. Yep. Yep. Hello, Travis. You got a cute kitty there, mate. Yeah. Last season, I did kind of want to be higher up, mostly because I really wanted Taru and somebody else, and we kind of got that anyway. So I didn't hate it at the end of the day. No worries, mate. Anytime. But I mean, you got a cute cat. Anytime it comes up, I'm going to probably mention it. Yeah, same points as Richmond. How embarrassing. They look like they're closer to a flag than we are. Disagree, brother. We are a lot closer to a flag than they are. But we just haven't had that peak yet, man. Like, the thing about development is it's not linear, right? So when we're gonna have these moments where we look like we're going up, and we're gonna have moments where we look like we're worse. Which this season we look like we're worse, and I'll give you that. But that's it's where you're looking at, right? Like, if we're looking at a season, then yeah, it looks like it's going worse. If we're looking at 2 seasons, it's probably not that far off where we were last year, right? Like, last year, we got a few games to run at home and we got out of this position. So, yeah, probably not as good, but how much not as good? It's not that different. And, like, if we go back a couple of years, yeah, trajectory is probably not straight up, but I'd say it's pretty steady. Like, I don't think we've gotten tons worse. Like, the competition hasn't gotten miles better than us. We're losing games by 5 goals, against the top 8 sides. And I think once we've realised that, hey, we're holding fairly firm with these sort of level efforts, the experience level of our side is a lot lower, the age of our side is a lot younger, that sort of run and gun, what, Ross came in and said was one of our benefits. Probably not anymore, because a lot of our side is, 21, 22 or younger. They probably don't have a ton of them that are super ready to run out games. So, mate, like a year or two, and it'll pop. But like it'll take that pop. It'll be a pop. It'll be boom. It won't be kind of linearly getting better. It'll be a boom. And then it'll come down to, is that a big enough boom to get you into that top four? Is it, is there enough improvement still to come out of that sort of game style? What players achieve, age bracket, experience, all that sort of jazz. So 2 years, I reckon, man. I reckon we're pushing for or maybe not flags, but we're pushing for finals. And with finals, who knows, right? So, I mean, we've seen people get it done from 7th. We've seen it done from 5th now. I think it really comes down to, when do we pop? When do we get better? And it's frustrating, but I feel like I'm seeing clear signs that we are playing a type of footy that is going to win matches. We just can't execute it 100% of the time, and we can't run out games the way that we want. We're also not quite getting the competitive marking done. We're not quite built yet. We're not built to throw out half of Geelong's 35-year-olds out of a contest and grab the marks. So one of the few that is like Minchie, and he gets a couple of frees for, gets a couple of contested marks. So like, we're on the right path. We'll get there. I think they know what's wrong. I just don't think it's not going to happen this year, and it might not happen next year. But I've got a pretty strong feeling at some point next year we start to see matches where we played similarly to, say, Freo or Richmond when we played them, but against sides that are somewhat competing. And like, we won't do it all the time, I don't think. But I think we'll see signs of that next year, because Freo's already kind of in that area, despite being younger. And we'll get to that point, but it's a year or so away. When does it happen? It's a when. I'm telling you, it's a when. But yeah, who knows? No worries. No worries. Go meet Hall. He's a good one. And see, see the rest of the boys. Get down. I think we had an open training on the week. So if you get the chance, go show him love. Hasn't been a great 6 weeks. But we're on the right track. So once these guys get to 100, 150 games in, we'll be ready to go. And that's 2 years away. It really is. So we'll get there. It's just a matter of when. So look, I think that's it, guys. Thank you very much for everything today. When it comes, it'll happen. Yeah, it'll come quick. That's right. Look, maybe we didn't all want the exact same people, but I think we're all pretty happy these days with who we've got. We're going to back the boys in, and that's what we got to do. Tough night to go down to the GMHBA and deal with them. To be honest, I think we got a reasonable result from the umpires. I think the crowd there wasn't happy with things, but I think if they didn't kick so many out in the full, it was probably pretty even for free kicks. So I think all in all, there's nobody to blame but ourselves here. But we are just a young, or at least half of our group is very, very young. The other half is, trying to do it with one hand tied behind their back. So we'll get there. We'll get it done. We just need this group to take that next little step up. Probably not this year. We might see some good matches over the next fortnight or month. But I'm hoping it's next year, if not the year after. But thank you very much for everybody for the podcast. It was a lovely little chat. Wish we got the chocolates, but not this week. Keep an eye out for the SaintsTV video. That'll be Tuesday. And then we've also got another video hopefully coming out fairly soon. But if it's not, we've got the end of years coming pretty soon. List assessments, what teams need, that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's all coming up quick. End of years where I've got to do more work than during the year, to be honest. So, yeah, it'll be fun. But thank you very much for everything. I'm going to get